Right, so I'm just trying this out. Hopefully, I'm getting a vertical rotation this time, and you can actually see me in full screen. Some people have been complaining that we've been getting the letterbox effect, um, and someone that does photography should know better, shouldn't they? um, anyway, I've done a bit of research and I've hopefully sorted it out now by changing some advanced settings. It's strange that YouTube doesn't really highlight it um, when you start doing this, but hopefully you guys can see me better. So for some reason, the last live stream quality was terrible. I looked at it and I thought, my God, it's bad. So what I thought I'd do is do it again. So without further ado, let me switch the screen over, and then you can see everything in its glory in widescreen. So this is obviously what it looks like at the moment. I've just watched Sharpie's video, and I think something I need to make you guys aware of. You're probably not aware of it, or if you are, you don't know about it that well. Rolling shutter on cameras. It's extremely problematic when you start panning quickly because the shutter runs from top to bottom. Unfortunately, mobile phones are not really suited for recording video very well. And what you'll find is when you start panning quickly like this, there's a rolling shutter effect. It's less so on digital SLRs and mirrorless cameras. You don't get it quite as much, but you do get it nevertheless. But I thought I'd just do a quick live stream, show you where we're at the moment. So I've dug a bit more out, guys, and I've got down to about 1 meter deep. I wasn't originally going to dig this much out, but I thought, you know what, if we're going to do it, do it. So I'm digging out all of that, all the way there. I've also cut it out. That needs to be slimmed down a bit better, out to about there, and then down and here. Obviously, if we step back, it looks a damn sight bigger, doesn't it? Damn sight bigger than it was before. The only thing I'm debating, now we've cut out the shelves that I said I was going to do, we'll get rid of that shelf there. And we got rid of that shelf there as well. I've also dug this out, so basically from that position there all the way back here, and then obviously when we have our sleeper, it'll be somewhere like there. So you can get a rough idea that from there we'll have like a little shelf, and what I'll do is at this area here I'll put a net over it. I believe this will be too deep for us to even try and get the fish, because it'll be 3 meters deep. I may even go a little bit deeper. The problem I have in this land that we've got here is I have groundwater. That's an issue. Summer is not a big deal. In weather like this, it's not an issue. But when you start digging deep, right, you will hit groundwater. It's susceptible in clay areas. So if you've got heavy clay, when you start getting to about 2 foot, that's when you start hitting groundwater. And I think I should show you something. I don't think I've shown this recently, but if you go back into my YouTube channel history, you'll be able to find out that at one point, this was dug down 4 feet deep. And what I did in this area is I dug it all out, but then realizing because there's a factory there, I might be going down to the foundations, and that's not a good idea. So I decided to fill it back in. But what I'm trying to say is, when I actually dug this out to 4 feet deep, right, um, before I filled it back in, just so there's no movement of any foundations or anything like that. Um, what I found is when I put a liner in there, we had a ton of groundwater. It was like a swimming pool underneath the liner. It was ridiculous. So I thought 4 foot is a no-go. So instead of putting a pond here, in the end, I just filled it in and put a patio on the top. And then we kept our small pond here, which is only about 30 centimetres deep. But what keeps us safe from predators is that fish cave there. As I've said in previous videos, guys, get a fish cave. Even if you think you don't need one, if you've got predators around. And you know what? I've been hearing strange bird calls that in the norm in the sky, and I suspect that bloody herring is somewhere. Um, so I'm gonna have to be mindful of that in the future. Um, so yeah, this is where we're at. Um, it's an ongoing process. I'm just digging it out. Hopefully we'll get this finished by tomorrow, and then I can start working on putting sleepers on. The only thing is I can't go to B&Q and get some cement because they're actually closed on Bank Holiday Monday, so I may have to wait until Tuesday. So that's what we're up to. That's the update. I hope you guys can see me in full screen. Be nice to know if you can or cannot. So yeah, I'm just giving you a bit of a tour, you could say. I will be releasing a video today on the filter box, so check that out. I've just watched a video of Sharpie going up to Lee's Japanese water gardens in Nottingham. Nice video, go and check it out. I'll say Lee's prices are a bit on the top end if I'm honest with you, because the place I go to seems to be quite a bit cheaper. But one thing I will say about it is Lee has pipe fittings. You know what? I have been to many koi suppliers, and they don't always have a big selection of of pipe fittings, adapters, whether they be screw or solvent weld. You know, let me just swing you back around. Yeah. So turn around so you can see me properly. Yeah. So there's a lot of pond supply shops that don't have a vast array of fittings, and that's a pity because fittings are really important. Quite often you've got something you've got to figure out in your head. How am I going to fit these pipes together? The different sizes. Do I need an adapter? Do I need some sort of reducer? Is it solvent weld? Is it a rubber pipe or something like that? How do I adapt it? Will it fit? Now, I'll be honest with you, I've ordered tons of things online and it's turned up to be the bloody wrong size. Um, so if you can find, yeah, Scarfy, hello, how you doing? Yeah, been busy. You know what? I have sort of been a bit reluctant to do anything, if I'm honest with you. Every time I went into the garage, I was a bit depressed because I've got these temporary pools full of the old water with after, the fish being dead, and I was a bit depressed in regards to doing any sort of work, and sometimes I think maybe you just need to, I don't know, get on with it and just try and forget about it. But it's not easy, is it? What was I talking about? Oh mate, hope you well now. Cheers, Scarfy. Um, so what was I talking about? Yeah, it was about Lee's Japanese water gardens. Yeah. Um, Basically, Sharpie's done a video, literally about 20 minutes ago. So after this, go and check that video out and watch it. Yeah. Onwards and upwards. Yep, definitely Scarfy. Um, yeah, I was talking about pipe fittings, wasn't I? it can be quite complicated trying to get fittings to fit. And another thing is, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but there's a big difference between metric and imperial fittings. Um, you could easily get a piece of pipe that's 32 millimeter metric and it won't fit imperial 1.5 inch, even though in theory they're very, very similar sizes. So it's always mindful to keep well informed about different fittings, different sizes. I spent a fortune on various pipes and fittings, and I'm going to do something unique with my filter as well. Has any of you guys ever used a clear PVC pipe? Not a grey one, a see-through one. Now, the surge filter comes with a see-through hose tail that you can see that allows you to see the UV working. However, um, however, um, if you want to use solid pipe, you have to think out of the box because I want to be able to see the UV working, so I know whether it's working or not without having to, take the bulb out or something like that. And the reason there's a clear hose tail is it is an indicator to tell you whether you need to change the bulb. Now, I want to change the whole installation of that into solid pipe. So I've ordered a few things from China. Believe it or not, I'm not a fan of ordering stuff from China, but you know what? Some of these fittings are cheap. Um, but I need to get hold of some clear pipe now. You won't believe this, but some of that clear pipe is bloody pricey. I was looking at a 1 inch piece of pipe that's 3 meters long. £50. Can you believe that? £50 for a piece of pipe that's clear. That's 3 meters long. I think the company was thepipeshop.com, something like that. And I couldn't believe it. Can you believe the price of a clear PVC pipe? And yet you can buy fittings, bends, elbows, tees, relatively inexpensive. So a clear piece of pipe that's relatively thick, walled, is like £50 for a 3 meter piece. And obviously you've got to factor in your delivery price into that as well. So yeah, it's quite an expensive piece of kit, isn't it? So keep that in mind, guys. That if you do want to use a clear piece of pipe, it costs a fortune. But it's something I'm going to do because I would like to see the water entering the filter from the surge filter. Sorry, it's a bit wobbly, this, isn't it? And give myself an indication of how clean the water is getting to the filter. And I think it'd be a bit of a party piece, won't it? Having a clear piece of pipe from one filter to another filter, and you can actually see the water going through. I think that will be great. However, bloody expensive to install and figure out. So I thought I'd mention that as an issue. Um, I know it's a bit off topic. Good idea, yeah, Scarfy. Um, yeah, it is. But can you believe the price of a clear PVC pipe? It's outrageous, that price, ridiculous. So that's more or less what we're going to be doing. Working. You see, I'm going to have three filters. We're going to have the surge filter, the Evolution Aqua. But the thing is, the maximum I can put through that is 2,500 liters per hour, right? So I have to put a T on, and I'm going to have to divert some of the flow. So some of the flow from my Evolution Aqua 10,000 pump is too powerful for the surge, you see. I can run it potentially at 1%, and it's probably okay at that. However, if I want to put more power through, I'm going to have to divert some of the flow. So we're going to divert a portion of the flow into a filter, a separate filter, and another filter, which is the box filter. If you've not already seen it, I showed it last time I did a live. Not the live I did today, but the other day. However, I'll be uploading a video showcasing the new box filter, which basically, I just change the camera angle. Basically, it's like this, but smaller, much smaller, about half the size. Um, but I'm using epoxy resin as the liner instead of a rubber liner, and I'm not putting any tank connectors in. Whenever you put a tank connector in, you always risk the possibility of a leak. Um, that's why I think some of those skimmers, those ones you put in the pond, are a good idea because you eliminate the possibility of a place where a leak could happen. You know, but if you've already dug a massive hole in the side of your sleeper like I have, well, it looks like we're going to have to put a new sleeper, sorry, a new skimmer in, a new Cockney Koi skimmer into the box that I've cut out there. Put a new one in there, obviously. I'm also going to do a few tweaking with this lot. So these are actually my returns. However, that return is too close to the skimmer. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to fill that in with expanding foam. I'm going to drill another hole around there, and then when I pipe it, there'll be lots of room to the skimmer. Here, I also need to change a little something as well. Um, that's the outlet to the pump, and it's too high. Now, most pumps are not self-priming. Now, I know the French Koi connection has got something similar to this, except her pipe goes over the sleeper and to a pump, and she somehow primes it by um, taking the rubber boot off and putting some water in the pump or something like that. But that's a balls ache, really. What we're going to do is we're going to cut a hole further down in there, and then obviously the pump will be lower, and because the pump is below the water level, it will self prime because of the tank connector being much lower. So I've got to drill out another hole there for where the pump outlet would go, and then obviously this is a lot wider. We can put our retro bottom drain there, a lot more room. um, I'm still debating whether I should take that shelf out or not. It's just really close to the garage, that's the only thing. If I just show you, it's really close to the garage. So I just don't know, it's very close. So I may have to keep this shelf in. I just haven't decided on that yet. So also I wanted to talk about filters. Now, we all know the aquascape spillway balls are bloody expensive, don't we? They're about £600. And then normally the kit that aquascape sell is about 3 grand plus. And the actual spillway basin, because normally you get two bowls. The spillway basin, which is slightly bigger than the spillway bowl, is another 600 quid if you were to buy it. Very expensive. So obviously you guys have seen me build various filters. So that's one filter that I've built, which is out of a very thin walled bowl that I bought off Amazon for 13 quid. Go in the garage. Obviously, if we put the light on, you'll see that I built this filter here. The only problem with this, I got it from Aldi, the box leaks a little bit. Because when it was in the round pool, it was leaking. So what we probably could do, although it's not very strong, if I just push out, you can see the wall isn't very thick. What you could do is line it with some silicone. You could even get that MS300 pond liner stuff and literally paint it with that stuff to make that waterproof. Or you could use epoxy or fiberglass or whatever other materials to make that waterproof. However, the wall is quite thin on that. However, if we go over here, I wanted to show you this imitation barrel. So this is a big imitation barrel. I think you can buy them for £28 at B&Q. I got it for £18 from Morrison's, a supermarket in the UK. But what makes it quite special is this. The plastic wall is about 1 centimetre thick. Really thick. That means this is very rigid and very strong. And they also do a smaller version as well of this. It's an ideal candidate to turn this into a filter. So you would put a tank connector, a bulkhead, either on the bottom or the side, so water comes in via a flexi hose pipe, and then you could either cut a spillway hole in here, a square hole if you wanted to, and have a spillway, or you could put in 2 or 3 bulkhead pipes where it would come out the pipe and flow into your pond. The thing with the pipes is you have less risk of it sort of back dripping down. That's the only thing I have noticed with the bowl that I built, is sometimes when the flow isn't very powerful, it does sort of dripple down the actual bowl a little bit. However, I don't think it's a big issue when there's lots of water coming out. But that's another option I wanted to talk about. I don't know if anyone's seen my bamboo wind noise fish. Got this from Yorkshire Mill Village in Bartley. They do lots of things like this. You might find it nice if you live close to West Yorkshire to give them a visit. I think this was about £21, but it's quite nice. Makes quite a nice little noise, you know. So that's what that is, if you've ever wondered. Thought I'd just show you that. Yeah, so the concept of the pond is we're making it quite a bit deeper and wider. More importantly, wider, I think, is the big issue. And longer. It's going to be a lot longer, because it's about there and there at the moment, but then it'll go right up to the wood there and there. The only thing is, how do I line it? Anyone got any recommendations? So the options we have is we box line it, we use a normal liner, which is quite a bit cheaper actually. We use possibly an epoxy like I have with the filter, or we fiberglass, although fiberglass is quite complicated when it comes to getting it to stick to returns and skimmers. It can be quite difficult. I'm no expert on that. Been watching, is it GRP lining services? He does a lot of fiberglassing. He calls himself the old fiberglasser now because he's got a bad back. But I think what you can get is like a paste. So basically, your fiberglass attaches to a paste, and the paste attaches to the actual fitting. Something like that, anyway. But there you go. That's what we're up to with the pond. Let me just sit down for a minute because there's something I want to talk about, and I know it's off subject, completely different, but I think it's important to talk about. So have any of you guys been following the Horizon inquest on the fiasco that is the Royal Mail Postal Service? Well, yeah, the Royal Mail Post Office, I mean. I've been watching it quite in depth. I've been listening to all these so-called experts, executives, lawyers and so forth, and it's quite obvious to me that these people are fools, don't have a clue. And if anyone from America is watching this live stream, just to give you a quick roundup, basically we have post office postmasters that were running post offices, and a computer system was cocking up the damn system. I'm familiar with what was going off because I used to work for a supermarket called Asda, and they had a similar sort of thing. They had double scans that were going on where people had their orders doubled up, and that's a lot of what was going off. And lots of people committed suicide, went to prison for things they never stole in the first place. And basically, now I'll use the word alleged so I don't get myself into trouble, but the post office stole money off these people and then pretended that it was actually them stealing the money off the post office. And you can't make this shit up. Um, and I've watched all the inquest uh, footage and listened to these incompetent lawyers trying to squirm their way out of it, blaming other people, blaming their co-workers, blaming the culture of how the post office is run, rather than own up and say, listen, I fucked up. I should have taken notice. For a lawyer to turn around and say, I don't read attachments. I, it's not something I do. Bollocks. Um, if someone sends me an attachment, and it's quite important, I would have read them. Scarfy says it's unbelievable those involved should be locked up. I completely agree, Scarfy. This Paula Venels woman, or whatever her name is, she needs to go to prison. And there was this Asian lawyer who was on the other day. Um, he came across as an idiot buffoon, a stupid moron who didn't have a clue. He was an idiot. He didn't read documentation. He didn't forward information to the defense lawyers, and that's another thing. In the UK, right? I don't know how it goes in America, but I assume it's pretty much the same thing. If you find some information out that is critical to the case and the defense needs to know about it, you will send that information to the defense, not hide it and not pretend it doesn't exist. And that's what the post office did. Basically, it was a cover up, completely a massive cover up. Um, and people went to prison, and people even paid up because they were scared. Yeah, it's probably her. What Will and Koi, Will's Koi and Y Trees. Um, yeah, evening to you as well. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I've been watching all the footage on the Inquest YouTube channel. You see, a lot of it is a lot of people don't want to watch it all and don't want to spend the time because a lot of it's boring. But the biggest thing I take away from that is they are literally covering it up, and they're delaying the compensation payments. You know, people have had their convictions squashed, have been told they should get £600,000, right? But the majority of the people, including Mr. Bates, who was actually in the ITV TV production, I highly recommend you watch it because it shows you a guy stepping out of his car and getting crushed by a bus. He committed voluntary suicide because he just couldn't take it anymore. And I'll be honest with you, I really felt for that bus driver. I've driven buses myself. No, it's not the Paula Reynolds for whatever regarding Coil, mate. It's she was running the post office in the UK. I don't know if you're in the UK, but I'm not familiar with the last name. I keep forgetting it, to be honest with you. But if you just Google it, it'll come up. Um, and essentially, she knew about it like 5 years ago, and lied to MPs. Now I can't wait for that Paula woman to come on the Horizon inquest. I think it's happening this coming week at some point for 3 days, and they're gonna literally attack her from left, right, and centre. She is not going to have a leg to stand on. She's going to be one of those idiots that's going to say, "Oh, I forgot. I don't remember. It wasn't me. It was the other guy." You know, Liverpool lad. All right, didn't know that. Nice to see a local guy not too far from me. I recently sent Martin Koi and Garden YouTube channel. It's not far from you, as far as I believe. It's a bit up north from Liverpool. I sent him a mug and I sent him two um, ball valves that had hose tails on them for free, you know, as a gift. Because he's sent me some um, plastic YouTube symbol thingies, and he did that for free. Didn't ask anything for it, and I thought, what a nice guy. So I thought, you know what? When he said to me, "Have you got any ball valves by any chance?" That because he knows I'm changing things a lot with my pond. I thought, well, I've got a few spare. I'll send them for free, and I'll send a mug as well. I did send a mug to just a koi, um, but he didn't think it was nice or respectful to send me anything, and I thought that was a bit rude, to be honest. If someone sends you a mug, I think it's normal to send them a mug, isn't it? Anyway, um, just sent him a tree he won. What was the tree? Will Coin and Wise Trees. Was it a bonsai tree? They're really nice, you know, bonsai trees. Really expensive, but look after them and they'll do well. They're not very hardy when it comes to winter though. So it's a good idea to put a plastic bag over them in the winter just to protect them from the frost. Yeah, but what I was saying about regarding the post office fiasco is it's a joke. Literally a joke. You couldn't make this stuff up. These people need to go to prison. I'm sorry, but if you hide something, you need to go to prison. Yes, he does wire trees. Thanks for the mug. I will get you one back. And hello, Willa Bonsai lad. Oh, so it was bonsai tree, yeah, yeah. They're really nice. I know DT Koi's got a load of them, um, but I'm sort of not a fan of DT Koi at the moment because basically he asked me for advice about a computer. I helped him out, and then he basically blanked me after that. And I thought, you cheeky sod, but that's life, I guess. Um, but yeah, hope you enjoy that, Martin. It'll go to your massive mug collection, won't it? Like just a koi, he's got a massive collection. I just felt it was a bit rude not to send me one back, but that's life, in it. Um, I did a pond visit for Maki Koi YouTube channel. I don't know if you've seen the pond visit. I do like to do pond visits. If there's someone watching this that's local to me, I would love to come and visit your pond and do a video. Um, anyway, talking about Maki Koi's pond that he's got a large pond, bigger than mine. He's got some sort of vortex filter that's massive. Is DT Koi still going? Um, right, let me explain something about DT Koi. He turned his YouTube channel off, right, because he was getting attacked by someone called Gary Webb, right? You're probably familiar with that name, aren't you? He's someone not a lot of people are fond of. Anyway, um, he turned DT Koi turned off his YouTube channel, right? And myself and many others encouraged him to come back, restart his YouTube channel, right? So after lots of course, you know, trying to get him to do it and you know encourage him to come back, right? I did that myself, you know, encouraged him, say, listen, come on, mate, you know, I know there's sometimes a lot of crap going about, but you can come back and start again. So he did, right? But then he wanted to do live streams. So he contacted me privately via Facebook. I'd never talked to him before, other than obviously on YouTube comments. and he asked me about what sort of computer do I need to do live streams, what sort of specs do I need, and where would be the best place to get one. So I spent the best part of a day communicating with him, telling him about what the specs he needed, what sort of software would he be using, and where he could get a cheap computer. And in the end, he managed to get one off Facebook that I found for him, and I just sent him lots of links for various different ones. And he eventually went off and picked it up and bought it. So when he did a few live streams, I came on and, you know, left a few messages. He never read them out, and I thought, someone's helped you out, buy a computer. They spent the best part of a day helping you out find one, and then you won't even contemplate reading a comment they've left, asking a question about something, or a suggestion, or a discussion on something. And I thought that was a bit rude. So, I was a bit pissed actually, if I'm honest with you. If I help someone out, or they help me out, it's give and take, isn't it? You sort of, talk to each other, and you respond, and you talk, and you help each other out. It's the way it is. But some people don't act like that, do they? Um, the way I see it is, if you help someone out, you expect to be helped out at some point from them. It's just decency, But some people don't think that, do they? They think, I don't have to pay you back in any shape, way, or form, And I think that's quite sad, really. So that's the whole reason behind DT Koi coming back. So, if you wondered why he came back, he was encouraged to come back by many people, including myself. Then I helped him out with figuring out a computer, and he just sort of blanked me after that. And the same is true of Gaz. On Gaz's Koi YouTube channel, sometimes he'll read my comments out, but a lot of times he won't. Considering we live, 5 miles from each other, because he lives in Huddersfield and I live in Leeds, very close to each other. It sort of pisses me off sometimes, when I'm trying to ask questions. And I don't know if you saw, maybe not last week, but the week before, when he mentioned about the heron attack that I had. It was quite, I don't know, quite rude. And how he just went over the discussion, How are you getting on with your pond extension? I've been digging it. I don't know if you came on when I started the stream. You can always go back to the beginning, but I showed you well. Let me just show you. Might as well just show you while I'm here. So this is the digging part, mate. So I don't know if you can remember how it was before, but it was about there before. Now I've dug all that out. I've cut the concrete slabs that were on there. Cut the concrete slabs that were on here. Debating whether to get rid of that shelf. I'm not sure on that at the moment because it's very close to the garage wall. However, this is about double the size. So if I just come around here. So the size it was about there. So all this is dug out and new. So yeah, it's going to be quite a big size. Also, the sleepers are going to be there, pretty much roughly where that sleeper is. So all that is like a shelf. And then here is a deep pond-ish. It's about 1 meter deep. Because obviously you've got 3 levels of sleepers going up. Obviously we'll have a capping wood on there as well, eventually. And it's 1 meter deep. Now, obviously, one could argue that this shelf I don't know if you've ever Tommy, I don't know if you've watched the last live stream that Gaz did, but I talked about this moss. I don't know if you ever saw the conversation. and you seem to think it's funny and I'm talking a lot of bullshit out of my ass, saying moss can be used to basically reduce your algae in your pond. Any plant will reduce algae. Now, I had this on the filter. If you check my past videos, you'll be able to see that. Moss and any other plant will fight algae. Having plants in your pond outcompetes algae of the nutrients and the fish waste that algae feeds on. The more plants you've got, the less algae you'll get. It's simple logic. I don't know why guys couldn't get this concept that the more plants you have, the better it is. Yeah, you're right about that, bloody Martin. Hey, bloody expensive all this bloody work, innit? The pipe work, the extra sleepers, right? Because I've gone to a local company. I want to talk about sleepers, by the way, guys. Let me just show you this sleeper. Right. Now it's 10 centimeters thick, right? By 200 millimeters long. What's that? That's 20 centimeters long, isn't it? Now, if you go to a supermarket, they're smaller. You're actually getting ripped off. So go to a timber yard if you want proper sleepers. And the reason those well, you can get some from supermarkets, but the reason the DIY shops and the garden centres are selling you these really tiny sleepers is because they're trying to con you and save money. However, you're not getting what you want. They're actually, I think they're 75 centimeters wide by 170, something like that. They're smaller than these. These are full size. Now, check out one of my videos if you're in West Yorkshire regarding the Yorkshire sawmill. I'll give you the details in that video, how to find them. They're incredibly good priced, and they do cuts for you. For £2.50 a cut, they'll cut your sleeper to whatever length you want. And they use a proper saw. You know, you would have a hard time cutting that with your regular 6-inch saw because it wouldn't be big enough. You need a proper saw. So if you want to cut a sleeper, get them to do it for you, and they'll do it for £2.50 a cut. You know what? That price is a bargain, considering how professional they cut it. Will's Koi and wire trees. Later, lad. All right. See you later, mate. Have a nice day. So yeah, so if you're going to get a sleeper, guys, get it from a decent sawmill, and make sure you get a decent size, because that's what matters in the end. So yeah, some people said this is quite a decent size, but it's not the end size. A lot of people will be seeing that and thinking, ooh, it's a bit larger than it was, but not by much. However, it's not the entirety of the construction, because basically our sleeper is going to be about there going along, and based on someone's recommendation, we're going to do it all the way along. I was going to do an L shape where we had an L like that, but then they said, well, you'll waste liner if you do that, and it's a bit of a waste of money if you did that. So I thought, you know what, you're right about that. Now, in my last sort of cock up video that I did earlier on, because I was trying to figure out how to do the orientation on the camera, I want to talk about liner. So, what liner do you think I should use? Should I use a regular liner? Should I use a box liner? It costs like a ton of money. Or should I fiberglass it? Although the plastic bits are hard to get the fiberglass to work. Go as big as you can, Paul. Yeah, Martin, definitely will. This is as big as I want to go, put it that way. So I would say I'm getting a ton more water out of this if I build it as I'm doing now. I would say the internal part of the pond is double the size that it was, because we've got all that, all that, and all of that means a lot of room to put our retro bottom drain. And I'm also going to put a fish cave in here, so if that bloody herring comes back, it's not getting my fish again. And also, we're going to put a big net across this section there. I'm going to put a big net, so when we've got a sleeper running across, big net on that section. So it can't get over there because it'll be too deep for it, and it won't be able to get in there to attack the fish because there'll be a bloody net stopping it. It's a shame you can't have like a gun turret in it. Or you could possibly get a camouflage tent or something and shoot it, but you can't shoot it because it's illegal. It's annoying that you can have a bird come into your garden, kill all your fish, and you're not allowed to do a damn thing about it. But enough said of that, because someone was saying, well, they have a right to live, don't they? What, they have a right to kill my fish? Well, it's not nice, that, is it, guys? But you know, there you go. So I've got this spillway. If anyone's interested in it, let me know, but I won't be able to give it away for free because it cost me too much money. It cost me about £80 to get this custom made. Now, I'm not expecting that, so if someone was to offer me 50 quid for this, they could have this. It's 33 centimeters wide, it's 20 centimeters long, it has a 5 centimeter high wall on both sides, it's stainless steel, it's solid as a rock. You just need to get some stainless steel screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws, and you can use that on your pond at a fraction of what it would cost to get it custom made. So I think £50 is a fair price for that. So if anyone is interested, let me know and you can have it. So yeah, so that's the project. It's a bit back-breaking. I know it's going to sound silly because Martin, his pond is absolutely massive, and he must have moved something like 10 tons of soil out of his. And I know it may be me complaining about breaking my back trying to dig all this out, and he probably thinks, oh, that's a little pool compared to what I did, you know. But you know, in the end, I'll get that digged out eventually. If anyone is in West Yorkshire and they would like some soil, get in touch. What you want is a motion censored AK-47. Well, Martin, I heard a noise today of a bird flying over the top of my house, and I could swear it was a fucking heron. So yeah, it's sort of making me a bit cautious now and anxious of herons flying anywhere near here, you know. Yeah, so what I'm thinking about is getting one of those automated sprinklers that you can get that fires a jet of water. Now, we could probably attach it on here, so when it comes on, it'll sense it and it'll fire off like that across and keep it away from the shallow area here. But I recommend you guys put a fish cave in your pond. I know people don't like them and people think they harbour muck and dirt, but I wouldn't have any fish left here. Ooh. I've got 2 fish here. Yeah, can you see them? Can you see them? If we're careful, you'll be able to see them. Now, they have a fish cave they keep swimming into, which is there. There's a fish cave right underneath all those plants. You see, he's just gone in. That fish cave has saved their lives. I'm not kidding you. It's really important that you guys understand this. The fish cave has saved the fish's life in this pond. I don't like to go on about it over and over. I know Vince from Twisted Koi doesn't like them because he thinks they harbour muck, and he's got a point. There's no bad thing to say that. However, I would say that a fish cave is invaluable, and I wish I'd done that myself in this pool here. I wish, in hindsight, if I thought there was a chance the heron could come here, I wish I'd put a flagstone over here, so the fish would have had a way of swimming in here and hiding from it. But I didn't think about that at the time. If I'd thought about it, they'd still be alive. So that's something to think about, guys. If you do a similar thing like this, build a fish cave halfway over, or you could use a tarp, but I do think the tarp wouldn't survive. I think it'd just punch a holes in the tarp and pull it off, if I'm honest with you. So I think it's not going to have any sort of way of punching through a flagstone that's on there that's solid. It's going to break its beak in it. Which, did any survive? No, mate, no fish survived the attack, and I'm going to tell you why. I thought there was a chance 2 of them might have survived. Now, I used some various chemicals. Since you don't know, a lot of people recommend this acroflavin. Various manufacturers make the same thing, so it don't matter what the manufacturer is, whether it's Evolution Aqua or Yorkshire Koi, it's the same thing. And this is supposed to help effective treatment for fin, tail and mouth rot, including ulcers, bacterial and fungal infections. Now, when a fish gets attacked like that, God knows what bacteria is in that bloody bird's mouth, and it got infected because of the damage. Now, I listened to someone on Facebook who said, "Oh, give them a salt bath. It'll be all right. It'll make them better. It'll help them recover." So I did that. Unfortunately, I didn't have any salt. Didn't know what type of salt to get. There's something called apparently PDV salt. There's also Epsom salt you can use as well. Salts you shouldn't use, obviously, is your table fish and chip type salt. But someone said to me, well, if you can't get any locally, at a pinch, now this is the stupid thing, at a pinch you can use this. Let me just show you. Finish dishwasher salt, right? He said, providing it says 99% pure, you should be okay. I didn't look on the back, did I? So, can you see that? It says don't ingest, poisonous type thing. Go to hospital if you have some of this. Reading the back of it, it says, finished salt, keep away from children, do not ingest. If product is ingested, then seek medical advice. Well, if it's no good for humans, it's not going to be any good for bloody fish, is it? And there was a guy called is it David Winterbottom, something like that, on Wakefield Koi's Facebook group, said that. So I thought, maybe he knows what he's talking about, since I don't know much about treating fish. They pretty much died because of using that stuff. But that was 2 out of the 5 that were attacked that were still sort of hanging on, and I do think they had a chance of potentially surviving, but not after when I put the salt in. So yeah, putting that chemical salt in was not a good idea. And one of the commenters on my YouTube channel said it actually has anti-caking chemicals in it, which is deadly to fish. It's probably deadly to humans pretty much as well. So that's why none of the fish survived. They were all literally pecked to death. And I don't think many people know this, that herons can attack your fish and kill them even if they're not hungry. Um, and not only that, they will try and get the smaller fish in your pond, but in the process, they may stab at your bigger fish that they can't eat because they're too big. So what they're likely to do is either eat or kill your small fish and badly damage your big expensive fish. And that's a massive deal for you koi keepers. You know, I was talking to my sister about this, and she seemed to think, "Oh, it's only fish. It's not a big deal. It's not like a cat that I'm cuddling." Blah blah blah. And I'm thinking, well, it's a pet in it, regardless of what type of pet it is. You still care about it, don't you? But yeah. So what you should take away from this is do not use Finnish dishwasher salt. It takes a long time to dilute it into warm water, and I used it based on that idiot's advice. And someone said to me, "You shouldn't take one person's advice," and you're pretty much right. But you know, if someone's on a Facebook group and it's all about koi keeping, and they're like a koi keeper, and they say to you, "Oh, use dishwasher salt," you would probably much assume they know what they're talking about, wouldn't you? Turns out he didn't know what he's talking about. I actually sent him a message recently as well on the group, and he didn't reply, because I don't know what planet he was on. But he says, as long as your salt is 99% pure, it should be fine to use. It ain't fine to use, mate. It's poisonous. Why? Why did you tell me that? You know. Anyway, this is a warning. Hopefully, you guys will listen to the mistakes I make. Some people criticise me. Oh, you make lots of mistakes. Oh, your pond leaks. Oh, this is wrong. That is wrong. Oh, you're telling them to put a skimmer in a different way. Blah blah blah. It's like, if I do it a certain way and I make a mistake, then you know not to do it, don't you? I'd rather me make the mistake, and then you see the mistake and you learn from it, and then you realise, right, I'm not going to do it that way because X, Y, and Z happened. That's why I do these videos, guys. I do these videos to help anyone in the koi keeping industry learn. You know, I don't get things right. I make mistakes. But at least I've got the guts and the balls to own up and apologize when I make a mistake, or say, this happened and I messed up. That's something a lot of the koi tubers don't do. So, you know, a lot of them are sponsored as well, and they like to spew their sponsor, which does my head in half at time. Did any survive the attack? A lot of time, effort, and attention goes into koi keeping, so it's definitely you lose that. Good evening, Steve. Steve. Stephen Laming. Good evening. Nice to see you. So, if you're new, you've probably just missed us talk about some koi tubers. Also, talk about the fact that I make a few mistakes along the road, but we learn from those. And also the fact that I lost all my fish from a heron attack. And also, someone told me to use dishwasher salt that is poisonous to your fish. Now, if I'd known at the time it was poisonous, I wouldn't have used it. So, warning, don't use dishwasher salt. If you see it in the supermarket and you think, oh, can I use that? Don't. It would appear that many salts you can't use. Now, my sister said something to, oh, they're not saltwater fish, so why would you use salt? Well, we don't dose our fish heavily with salt. We're only putting in a few percent at most. You know, so the salt, I think I'll give you a good example. when I was a kid, I had bad sunburn on me, and someone said to me, um, go into the pool on the cruise ship, right? So I went into the pool in the cruise ship, right? And then my dad said to me, "Do you know what's in that water?" I said, "What?" "Salt water." And it was like burning my back. But it's the best thing for your back. You know, salt is a natural product, you know, of the natural world. It was used to preserve meat back in the day, you know, when they didn't have fridges and freezers, and it was used to preserve things. And also they put salt on body parts to make them heal quicker. Um, and that's essentially why we use salt with the fish if they're injured, you know, to try and get them to recover quickly. But clearly we don't want to put nasty chemicals in there, do we? Now, unfortunately, I listened to someone that didn't know what they were talking about. So, if someone says to you on a Facebook group and gives you some advice, try and get double or triple confirmation from other people that what they're saying is true. You're not calling that person a liar, but just for your own peace of mind, if quite a few people are giving you the same answer, then you're pretty much good to go. However, if one person says something and then you go to another person, they say something else, and then another person says something else, then you've got to start asking questions. Hang on a minute, why are different people giving me different answers? And that's sort of what was happening when I posted some questions about how to go about curing my fish due to their injuries from the herring attack. And you know, just try and double check your facts. Sometimes you need to do that just to figure out if what they're telling you is the truth. So you know, I thought I'd just mention that as well. Let me just, if you've just come on, I'll just go over what we've been doing anyway. So I'm expanding the pond to like double what it was, and then I'm going to put some sleepers here and make it a lot bigger, so we've got a little shelf for the plants. I've got these plants here. These are water lilies. Got 5 there, so we need a little place that we can put them on. But because I had a heron attack my fish, if you've not checked it out on my YouTube channel, go and watch it. It's a horrific. It took 2 hours of attacking before it flew off. The CCTV confirmation videos confirm that it was 2 hours that it was here. And as you can appreciate, I did get quite emotional in that video when I was talking about it. So yeah, obviously we've got this shelf here. It also means in the hot summer you can like come here, sit on the side, put your feet in the water, and just cool off here. You know, obviously I'll put a net along here as well, a net that can be taken off as and when you want to. And we will have a free filter system. So we'll have the Evolution Aqua Surge. We will have one of these type of barrel or bowl or square type DIY filters. I'll show you one of them as such. That's one. Maybe we should put some water on so you can see it working. So let's put some water on. There's the moss that you can use and put on top if you want to, and it'll help fight the algae. Right, turn that on. We also have a triple filter system there to take out the chlorine. So just one thing, every 6 months it's recommended you change the filters. I need to do that. So I'm just showing you this filter working. So I pulled that out of a cheap plastic planter basket. That's a bowl based on the aquascape design. Instead of costing 600 quid, this cost me probably 50 quid in all. The bowl was only £13, but yeah, I put some water in there just to keep the plants alive. But that's a good filter, and I'll be using that or another. Yeah. Check out my channel if you want to find out how to build that. I've done 2 videos on that. So yeah, I don't think there's much more I can talk about now. So now the light is starting to recede. I'll get some of this dug out now, and I'll see you in another video. Hope you have a nice evening and have a nice dinner, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.